This is an audience question. When and how many public hearings, platforms have you attended in the last year, and name some? To each of you. Ms. Henderson, I'll read it again. When and how many public hearings, platforms, different things have you attended in the last year? Name some.
I attended the last city township meeting. I was at a debate that was held by strong women, and this is another debate that I attended. So I would say 3.
I've been at several. I've been with the Strong Women of Benton Harbor. I've been with the NAACP. I've been with Young Voters. I've been involved at several public hearings, the City Commission meetings, the Harbor Shores Golf Oversight meeting. I've been at several of them.
The most recent I went to was last week's forum for the commission at large, legal place. And I've been to a couple with the EFM where you spoke, the current.
What'd you say? We can't hear you.
I've been to the one last week, and I also been to 1 or 2 public forums with the EFM speaking on the current status of the city.
Can I respond? I was just going to say that even though, even with myself, I haven't been attending, but I pay close attention to what's happening in my city. I'm a taxpayer, and so the things that happen in my city is very important to me. So keeping track, just because you're not there don't mean you're not keeping track of what's going on. Thanks.
This is an audience question. Please share with us some of your life experiences that have prepared you and that qualify you for elected leadership.
I'll be happy to start with that one. I'm currently a law enforcement officer, and I won't say where, but most people know where. I've been in law enforcement for 19 years. I managed the Domino's pizza restaurant in the city of Detroit for a number of years. I did over $1 million a year in sales. I'm a product of the Detroit public schools, graduated from Laura Osborne High School. I had 13 months of college. I started at the bottom and worked my way up. I saw opportunities. I took advantage of opportunities. I took advantage of opportunities to learn and educate myself, and I'm self-taught in a lot of things. So I feel those experiences. I'm a husband of 26 years. I manage my household. I'm a proud homeowner on Pipestone Street. I'm proud of this city. I take great pride in this city and where I live.
Well, I still have a lot of growing to do, but in 2006, I had a vision and a dream of starting a nonprofit. And I actually managed my nonprofit at the age of 17, which raised up over $35,000. It was called the Benton Harbor Youth in Government Program. I actually worked with state, federal government officials. We were endorsed by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. So I've been always involved in the community and had that passion, and that's what prepared me for this.
Well, I won't tell my age, but I think of the 20 plus years that I've worked in the human services field, working with families and working with youth, managing my home and my family, being involved in grassroots organizations, actually working for one years ago, and just being mentored by different people that I've actually been around. I think that homegrown leadership is a key. You care about the city, you know the issues at hand, you know the people who are involved, and I think that my life experiences have prepared me to be here and here at this point in my life. So yes.
There is a lot of talk about what the people of Benton Harbor want, yet no one has knocked on my door or called me to ask me, what are your plans to communicate to people in your ward and take real feedback to the city? Let's start with Mr. Burns.
When I'm elected come November 8, 2010, I will implement, I already have it started, I have a Facebook page for electricalvoice.com. If you want any information on me, you can go there. But I'll be innovative, like I said, we need to be innovative. Facebook, newsletter, and communication, town halls. I know as a resident of the 2nd Ward, I haven't had a town hall, haven't had a knock on the door for my commissioner. But when I'm elected on November 8th, I will be that commissioner that communicates with the people, not afraid of the people, and that person.
Well, I echo some of the things that Trey spoke of, newsletters, having different community events where people are able to come up and ask questions and have dialogue with me as a city commissioner, making myself available to people so that they can ask questions and that kind of thing of what we're doing, and for the people that have not been able to get out and that kind of thing. I've been doing actually phone town halls is a great way to get information to people who can't come to city meetings and get involved that way.
I plan to go door to door and speak to the people in my ward and ask what the needs are, but also I can observe what I see, what some of those needs are myself, and be proactive in seeking to be a voice for the electors in the ward.
I have a card here that doesn't have a question, so I'm going to treat it as a statement and ask each of you to respond. Agree, disagree, tell why. I'm going to read it in its entirety. Checks and balances in government. Our charter has workable, tried and true procedures and policies to make sure no one person being elected by appointees or hired have the authority to make decisions without being accountable to the residents. I'm going to read that again because it's kind of long. I'm going to ask you to comment. It's headed Checks and Balances in Government. Our charter has workable, tried and true policies and procedures to make sure no one person being elected by or appointed, whether they're elected or appointed or hired, have the authority to make decisions without being accountable to the residents. Agree or disagree?
I don't know whether I agree or disagree with that statement. I haven't read that part of the charter. However, they are accountable to the residents via the commission. The residents hold the commissioners accountable, and the commissioners then hold the city manager accountable for their actions. But it has to be the continuity and the accountability that everyone below the commission is in charge and under the watch of that city manager. So there is effective leadership, that there's no blame or finger pointing. They can go to one person and one person only to have questions answered.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure, and I think it's a question about whether the current charter has appropriate accountability built into it. Our charter has workable, and they wrote tried and true, procedures and policies to make sure that no person, whether elected or appointed or hired, has the authority to make decisions without being accountable to the residents. So the question seems to be, the comment seems to be to go to whether people have or have not been able to make decisions without being accountable.
I think what Public Act 4, from my understanding, if I'm comprehending it right, they're going to that question of Public Act 4. I think the city charter is a home, from my studying, the city charter is a home rule act. So therefore, no one can appoint or take that power. I think it's agreeable, whoever wrote that question, and I think they should be responsible for complaints.
Thank you.
I think that people have in the past made decisions where they weren't held accountable. Case in point, we have an event. So someone was doing something or making decisions that affected everybody because there wasn't a checks and balance in place. And to speak to Public Act 4, I think that the city did need some type of intervention, but I also think that that authority probably should have been shared versus dictated. So, but I do think that people have made decisions without being held accountable in the past. Thank you.
Thank you.
My question, it says, how important or vital do you perceive this election to be on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and why?
I would rate it a 10 because we have some charter amendments that are being proposed that are very vital to the efficacy of this city and the proper management of our government. Without these changes, we will go back to the way it was, and the way it was is totally unacceptable. As a taxpayer, as a citizen, it cannot continue the way it has been managed, or mismanaged, I should say. It cannot continue. So this is vital. The change with the several amendments on there is very important.
That's a good question. I would say a 10. We have these very important charter proposals. Do we want to move back 40 years and 60 years from ago, or do we want to move forward? Do we want to get rid of our representation, the working man's voice, or do we want to take that voice away? I think, do we want to go innovative? Do we need young, fresh blood in office? I think that's why this election is important. That's why I rated it 10.
I think that, yes, this election is very important. Benton Harbor is moving forward, and I think that people need to be in place that is capable of positively affecting that change, so I think it's vitally important. I say 10 as well.
Thank you.
This is a question from the audience. What plans do you have for the city's growth?
The growth in terms of economics, and again, one idea that I would like to propose, and that is using the HUD Act of 1968. I think that in it many things are encompassed: economic development, housing. I think that is a way of moving our city forward.
If I'm correct, can you repeat that question? Because what I got was, how do we see the growth of the city, correct?
What plans do you have for the city's growth?
Well, I have several plans, but one of my plans is, number one, it's a fact. Benton Harbor is number 69 with the largest population moving out of Benton Harbor. I have a plan called the Move Back. Move Back would be, if you have a college degree and the public service is working in government, nursing, teaching, or educating our children, and you're a graduate from Benton Harbor and you moved up, we're asking you to move back. I'll ask you to move back. It will be a 2-year tax incentive where you don't have to pay taxes for 2 years, but you have to make a commitment to at least stay in Benton Harbor for 10 years. That's going to itself alone can increase our population. Number two, we have to be innovative with luring businesses into Benton Harbor. We have to offer incentives for business owners and be creative in our way of thinking. So those are my 2 names.
Well, for the growth of the city, no one wants to move to a city that isn't safe, that doesn't have the infrastructure it needs to be viable, that doesn't have the proper fire or police or properly run government. So the government needs to be run efficiently. It needs to take care of the tax dollars that's bestowed to it or given to it by the taxpayers. And if you build it, they will come, but they will leave if you don't take care of what you have, if you disrespect what you have, vis-a-vis mismanagement. You cannot have growth without those things. But people will come and they'll start to see and it will catch on like a plague once we take care of our city and make sure that it's managed properly.